Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnson with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, and I have guests today for our Cross Canada Market Checkup. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves? So, Christian, you go first.
Great. My name's Christian Toomey. I'm with Remax Land in Calgary, Alberta. And Jane, thanks very much for having me on.
No problem. And Stephen?
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Lau. I'm with Remax Real Estate in Edmonton, and been in real estate over 10 years, and I'm looking to keep going and helping you out.
Good. Well, I'm excited today because you guys are in two different areas of Alberta, and we often have a lot of Albertans buying in Victoria. So I'm just wondering, what's the market like in your cities? How about you go first, Stephen?
Christian, I don't know about you, but it's been a lousy 4 years since the oil downturn. We've had a lot of natural disasters in Alberta, from Fort McMurray to the Calgary floods a number of years ago, and the oil prices and our lack of pipeline, access down to BC, our economy is kind of been almost in a holding pattern. But there's a lot of listings right now. People are kind of testing the market, and our listings is at a very almost like a 10-year high. So we have like over 12,000 listings, which is a very strong buyer's market. And with the January 1st mortgage qualification rules being the stress test, where you have to qualify at 2% higher than the actual mortgage rate, I feel that it's chopped off about 1 in 5 buyers, and the 4 out of the 5 buyers that are still left are qualified for 20% less. So everyone's kind of taken a bit of a squeeze down into a lower house, a smaller house than perhaps what they want. And now with Donald Trump imposing tariffs on our friends here in Canada, I see people are just very scared about the general outlook, and especially homes in the higher end of the market, like I'd say 600, 700,000 plus. They're sitting on the market a long time, and prices are extremely soft. So if you need to sell in this market, it's unfortunately not the greatest time.
Well, I think that we're having somewhat of a similar experience in Calgary, south of Edmonton here. However, there's some real bright lights to the market right now. And the brightest light is for first-time home buyers or for people that are, moving into Calgary. Our migration numbers are climbing up a little bit. And the clients that I'm getting from away or first-time home buyers right now are having an excellent time. They really have the pick of the litter. They can go out there with me. We can look at a lot of different homes. We can check out some exciting stuff. And we can find something at a great price, something that we couldn't find possibly, 6 months and certainly not a year, maybe 2 years ago. Today we're finding great deals out there. So there's certainly some, silver lining on these clouds that we are experiencing in Alberta. There's no question. For the people here that are, selling into this market, you've got to remember that often you're buying back into the same market. So you're selling it a little bit less maybe that you were in 2014. That's right. It's relative, right? You're selling for less than what your expectation was back in 2014, but your buying power is completely different again. So maybe you're buying better than you were in 2014. So it's all relative, right? It all works out in the end. The point is that, when I sit with people, I like to sit down and discuss the strategy and look at what we're really looking at. The press is kind of, painting a bit of a doom and gloom out there, but there's some positives. We just gotta find them and work a strategy to help our buyers and sellers capitalize on them.
Okay. Well, the market here in Victoria, our inventory has slowly increased. So from January, we were at around 1,450. We're now up around 2,600. This is higher than we've been in 2 years. The stress test has affected us as well. The number of listings, obviously going up, and then the number of sales every month is down. So our inventory is higher. People are having a hiccup here because of the change in the rules provincially. And that's regarding, even though only 5% of our buyers tend to be investors, or even less than that, and from outside the province. There's been this kind of media around and psychology around the foreign buyer, which has been very negative. And so as a result, they're trying to they're trying to stall the market, and they've done that. And so our average house price is actually evened out, and I can show you a graph. Our average house price though is high. It's still 900,000.
That's fantastic.
What's your average house price, Christian?
We're sitting just over 500. So our benchmark price is $501,300.
Yeah, in Edmonton, compared to last year, prices are down, according to the Real Estate Board, 1.44%. The average home price is $436,825 is the average price of a home.
So, so our condominiums are that price. They're actually, our condominiums are at $475. That's our average price. So let me ask you a question. So for $900,000 in Victoria, we would get a house that needs work in downtown Victoria. On the West Shore, we get a very nice house with a big yard. And in Sooke, we would get a palace. What would you guys get for $500,000? Or even $900,000? Let's make it relative.
900,000, you'll get a pretty damn nice house in Edmonton in most parts of town. Let's say a luxury home. So if you're in the suburbs, I would say you'd get a 3,000 to 4,000 square foot house with a 3-car garage with a good sized yard. In downtown condos, you'll get a luxury condo for sure, like a nice, maybe a sub penthouse, honestly, with a view.
Wow. For 405, I just sold a 2-bedroom, 900 square foot condo in an okay area here in Victoria. It showed well. It was a corner unit, still not a great area. What about you, Christian?
Well, Calgary's geographically quite a large city. So I guess to paint a picture, if we were, within the borders of the inner city, that 900 grand may buy you a great lot to build something on, where you'd have an old 1950s type bungalow. We can, in a lot of communities, we can buy them for a little bit less than that now, or quite a bit less than that. But for some of the super communities, that's, upwards of the, top limit. We can absolutely, 900, I mean, that's a ton of money. If we're on the outskirts, we can buy a beautiful home, 3-car garage, highly upgraded. As we get in, maybe we're looking at something highly upgraded that's attached, like a, semi-detached type dwelling. Our average price right now for condos is $254, or benchmark price, 257. So 900 grand in condominium, like apartment style condominium, you're going to get something really nice. I mean, absolutely outstanding for sure. There's great value here in town. 900 grand, that's a pile of money. When our benchmark price is at the 500s, we can still find some terrific single family dwellings in that $400,000 range in the outskirts, in the new communities. We can get great value here in Calgary. It's just important to talk to your realtor, talk to me, and I'd be happy to point you in the right direction.
So let's say somebody's getting into the market and they, what can they expect to pay? So here we have a very high, lower range. So to get in, it's $700,000 into a house in Victoria. What do you get a sort of reasonable house in Edmonton, Stephen? Like if somebody's getting into the market, that to me seems to be the place to focus for you guys for the next while.
In a mature neighborhood, we're talking about 1960s average family home, average demographic, you can get in as low as 340, 350. In the inner city, not such great parts of towns, you can even get it as low as in the low 200s. It's a little shocking, but definitely rougher areas. But I would say a very solid starter home, bungalow, 1,200 square feet in a mature neighborhood, about 330, 350. You can do it.
Okay, and Christian?
It really depends on, I guess, the starting point, and that is what's important to your family. What's important to you as a buyer. Are we looking at a newer community? Where do you work? Where do you live? and trying to put all of that together in the basket to pull out the community where we can get you into. If price is it, we can get into residential single family detached homes in that, mid 300 range. I can certainly get you into a bang up neighborhood in the higher 300s. But then it's all depending on the equation. Schools, shopping, where you work, what your price point is. And we try to sit down and talk to people and gather all that information to point them in the right direction.
I like the way you're very holistic in your approach. Like, it's all about lifestyle, right?
Oh, well, it is, right?
And
At the end of the day, it's so important for people to, especially people that are coming into the market, whether they're first-time buyers or they're moving into Calgary. Let's sit down and have a really good discussion about, your lifestyle, where you're working, what you're doing. Do you want to be able to walk to school, walk to church, walk to shopping? What's important, right?
What were you going to say, Stephen?
No, I agree with everything you said. You definitely need to sit down, look at your lifestyle. Maybe you have friends or families who are part of town. I know in Vancouver, the joke is if you live more than 3 bridges away from a girl or a person of the opposite sex and you want to date them, it's not going to work because this is the travel time is going to kill you. But in Edmonton and Calgary, we have very good transportation. We have great ring roads, thoroughfares. You can go across town in 30, 35 minutes, and that's a 40-kilometer drive. So it's very, very accessible. But definitely sit down, look at the value of your time. If you're a top professional making, $300-400 an hour downtown, do you want to live, 30 kilometers in the extreme far south of Edmonton, or do you want to live closer to the mature inner city, higher end neighborhoods where, you value your time? Because every day, if you're wasting an hour and a half of driving and you're worth $300-400 an hour, pretty soon it makes sense to buy a more expensive house, maybe a smaller house, but more expensive house in, like you said, in the inner city, in a good part of town, and be closer to the lifestyle, the river valley, the downtown, all the hot spots. So it definitely is worth sitting down and seeing where you're at with children, family, work, drive time, all those considerations.
So in Victoria, we have different areas that are more that are preferred over other areas. So Fairfield being one of them, Oak Bay being another. But since I moved to Victoria 19 years ago, there's one area that I've always had my eye on that, to me, is close to downtown. It actually has oceanfront. It has beautiful views, great parks, great recreation center. And to me, it's the area to watch, and that is Esquimalt. So anybody looking to buy in Victoria, if they're not from the city, if they don't have that preconceived notion that it's kind of the wrong side of the bridge is just being taken down and replaced by a new bridge. And it's semi-industrial in some areas, but it's a beautiful, beautiful area with character homes. And to me, that's our area to watch. So I'm just looking here at single family homes in that area. And in Esquimalt, it's $700,000. If I look across the bridge and I look in Victoria, the active is about $200,000 more. So for $200,000 less, the area to watch is Esquimalt. What about for you guys? What's the area to watch in your city?
Area to watch. I think there's some pretty fantastic. What's that?
I said I sprung that on you. Sorry.
I think there's some pretty fantastic new communities that are coming on stream in deep South Calgary, Southeast and Southwest. And there's some very exciting things that are happening. Mahogany Lake, gorgeous community. It's starting to mature out where they're getting through the community now, so it's not so raw. I'm really excited about that one and have been for a number of years. On the other side of the river, there's a community called Legacy, which is pretty much brand new. It's at the very south end of our city. And it's really exciting. They're doing some beautiful things there. I'm picking up a number of new construction listings out there. And yeah, there's some really exciting stuff going on in the community of Legacy. I think some money, you get into these communities early on, you have an opportunity to grow with the community and make some really good returns on your equity.
Do they have the infrastructure in place? Because on the West Shore here, we're just catching up with the infrastructure, just catching up with the development.
Yes, infrastructure in Calgary has to come with the community. So what we're seeing now is land developers put in information or put in, like the roadways and fires coming out with them. Schools are coming out with them. This community of Legacy, it's brand new, but they're already this September they're opening a brand new high school. So the high school was built kind of in conjunction with the community to give it some livelihood. Same with the stores and shops and whatnot. It's all happening at the same time. So they're doing things a lot better than they did in the past, certainly.
We bought in a rural area near a development that hadn't been developed. It's just happening now for that reason. So all the infill's happening between us and the core. So we're going to have the pastoral area, mature pastoral area, and the more high density stuff with all the infrastructure and the amenities is just going to be 5 minutes away from us now. So we made a smart decision that way. Okay, Stephen, what about you?
First-time home buyers, you always, the influx is towards southwest, southeast Edmonton, towards the airport, heading towards Calgary. The neighborhoods are just sprouting up like crazy. Now we have a new massive interchange south of our ring road. It's called 41st Avenue, and it's literally like 10 minutes from the airport. Those areas are sprouting up like crazy, but I'm not talking about investment value. People who are investing in the inner city south of the North Saskatchewan River, near the university, there's an area called Bonnie Doon where there's tons of infill. So people are knocking down or renovating homes that are 1960s era that are mature lots, and they're splitting them. And from what I know, Christian, is that Edmonton's regulations in terms of redevelopment is a lot easier and a lot quicker than in Calgary. So people are splitting lots and knocking down homes and building half duplexes or building a brand new home. And you can pick up a house near the university on a good deal for maybe $360, $380. And this is about 1 kilometer south of the university, 1 kilometer south of the river valley, and you can pick it up for $360 to $380, and people are knocking them down. And I've sold houses around 1.1 million, and so just a nice new infill in a mature neighborhood in a very nice part of town. And that's where people are going, especially if they want to be close to the river valley and the action of our city. However, new families who just want the space and the yard and the new schools are going outside the ring road. And that's probably the same thing in Calgary, like Panorama Hills, etc. That's the most affordable land value, and that's where the young families are going. But as people have two incomes and maybe they have earning power of 5 to 10 years, they tend to migrate away from the outskirts more to the core because the time value of money starts to kick in.
Yeah, that's important, because cities often die if everybody's moving out. It happened in Toronto. Mm-hmm. They really had to focus on redeveloping the core.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last few minutes here. Where do you think the market's going in your area? Christian, you're on.
Well, that's the $1 million question here at the end of the day. Where's the market going? I would say in the next 6 months or to the end of the year, I think we're going to have a very similar market than what we've had over the course of the year already. Where it's super important to be hiring a professional to help you, whether you're buying or selling in real estate. It's not necessarily all that easy to navigate these waters, and you really need somebody to guide you through. Next year, starting in January, what do we expect? I'm assuming that next year things are going to get a little bit better. We potentially are coming up to an election here provincially in Alberta, which should change things or start to move things in a different direction, which will be interesting. And the next 6 months, I think is going to be pretty similar to what we have. The next 12 months or 18 months, I believe that we're going to start to move in the right direction, and real estate's going to start to be a little bit more attractive. Now is the time, without question. If you're looking at buying and you're a first-time buyer moving to the city, don't be putting your money in a rental. Get into a house because rates are going up. Market's going to be moving up. Now's the time. You're getting in at the best possible price that you can. I truly believe that. And the market's indicating it. Our statistics are indicating that as well.
Yeah. Pay your own mortgage, not somebody else's.
Totally.
Okay, Stephen.
I tend to be a long-term optimist, like Christian. I think 18 months plus is when the pipelines, when the federal government forcibly gets the pipeline built out and twinned out to Burnaby from Edmonton. And once those the pipeline situation and the export market is solidified, I think people are starting to realize that Alberta is the place to come to. People retire and go to Victoria. They have money when they go there, but the young people, I don't think there's enough jobs to support that high residential housing cost on the West Coast. And I think Alberta is a very entrepreneurial, hardworking class of citizens, and they come to work here, make their living, and then move out to the West Coast, and that's where we send Jane a referral at that point. But for the immediate time being, I think with sort of a geopolitical event causing oil prices to massively spike, and if our pipeline get built, I think we're still going to have, for the rest of the year, still kind of a fairly flat market, because there's just too many things going on with, Donald Trump, the tariffs, the economic uncertainty, the job hiring still hasn't picked up to the same extent as the last oil boom, but we'll see. Give us a 4-leaf clover. I think we could use it here.
Okay, well, here in the market, we're just heading into a balanced market. I think we may head into more of a buyer's market and follow you guys, which is a good thing. I'm thinking prices will drop a bit. They've already dropped a bit, 10% in the past few months. So I'm seeing a bit of a correction happening. I don't foresee a big further drop, but I see it leveling out. We have a very, very steady market in general, just because we're government. We have many education institutions like universities and colleges, and then we also have the prison industry and lots of people who are starting tech industry here. And one of the issues we have is we have jobs but no housing, so they're working on that right now. There's a lot of condos in construction, and then the West Shore, the infrastructure's coming in, and then there's infill happening out there. So they're playing catch up right now, and I foresee that it will balance out maybe about a year or two. So, all right, well, thank you so much for joining us today. What we're going to do is share this out to your social media networks, and we're going to be doing this quarterly. So we're interested, if you're a realtor and you're part of our preferred RE/MAX referral group, we'd love you to be a part of our group. These are professional people. They are vetted. Know, like, and trust them. So if you ever need a realtor in Calgary, talk to Christian. If you ever need a realtor in Edmonton, talk to Stephen. And if you ever need a realtor in Victoria, I'm happy to help you out. Okay, take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye, you guys.
Thanks, Jane.
Okay, bye.